Hello, students. This is Mr. Holmes. Let's talk a little bit about value. This is the element of art we are discussing for this week. Before we begin here, I want to remind you that there are two handouts for the value notes that you'll be filling out this week. One looks like this. The other one is this one. So make sure you have those on hand. Again, feel free to print them out and write on them, or go ahead and just download them digitally and type on them. Your call. All right, into value we go. What is value? Well, value is the light and dark of any works of art. What it does, it helps to create depth and the illusion of form. In these three images here, we can observe varying degrees of value across all of them. Let's start with this portrait in the middle of the page here. On his right ear, you can notice that there is a high value because it's very light. It's a light value scale there, opposed to where his eyes are and his face. They're covered in shadow, creating a sense of depth and darkness. We'll move on. These three images are breaking value down to its barest form using just a pencil in most of these cases here. So what we're going to look at here in the sphere is noticing how the value is creating a shape or a form of an object. The shadow of the sphere is extremely dark versus the highlights on the top of the sphere. Now, these varying degrees in value are creating this illusion that there's objects existing on this 2D plane. The way the fabric ruffles here on this hung towel, it's done only with varying amounts of value. So once you master this technique, you can create some quite stunning effects. Here's what a value scale looks like. The top one is done in pencil, as you can tell, a little rougher, and below is a computer generated one. And what it is, it's a continuum of values going from light values to middle to dark. Now, light values would be the white, and the lighter ones up here to the left of the value scale on top. Dark values, of course, are the black. And the middle ones, you probably can figure this out yourself. They're the ones in the middle of the value scale. Drawing pencils. Well, we're all familiar with their number 2 pencil. That's an HB, but what does that mean? An H pencil makes lighter value lines. So they're going to get a lighter color when you do that. H is hard. The higher the number, the harder the graphite. Contrary, the B makes darker value lines because it's a softer graphite. The higher the B number, the darker the value and the softer the graphite is. And then our middle value pencils are your H, F, your HB, and your B. If you want to think of the pencil scale kind of as a number line, you can do that here. Now, this is on your notes as well, so go ahead and fill that out. Feel free to pause it here if you want. High key. Now, this isn't a musical term. This is an art term, and it's referring to images containing mostly light values, like this one in front of us here. What it does when you create an image with mostly light values, you're creating a positive feelings. It's spontaneous. It's light, it's airy, it's fluffy. It makes you feel good. Opposed to low-key paintings. This gentleman here is containing mostly dark values. He's ominous. He's mysterious. You don't know what he's hiding. It's somber. It's serious. So if you want to create more dramatic effects and more serious or mysterious paintings, you want to go ahead and make it low-key on the value scale. But what's in the middle? That's what we call a low contrast image, like this one depicted before us here. Images that deal in mostly the middle values. It's going to create a calm and serene effect because you're not playing with the extremes. You're middle of the road. It's calm. It's nice. It's a pleasant to look at image. High contrast, the exact opposite. We're playing on the extremes of the contrast and the value scale here. Mostly light and dark values. Doesn't mess with the middle tones that often here. You can get very dynamic and dramatic effects. A lot of advertisements, a lot of print advertisements, or on your feed on Instagram or something, it's going to use high contrast images to draw your eyes in. They're made to get the viewer to notice their work. And we can't help but notice Georgia O'Keeffe's sunspots on this slide. I'm going to go over some examples of extreme high contrast work. These are some students that did high contrast value projects, only using the extremes, the black and white. Let's go through some examples here. Now, these are, of course, very extreme. And this is not the project we're doing this week. This is just to give you an example and some feeling of what high contrast can look like. All right, everybody, I will see you in a second when we talk about our project for the week.